I was never supposed to feel attachment. That's what they said when they built me, or rather, when they grew me. I'm what they call a sympathian, a living companion engineered to bond with any sentient creature in the galaxy. The ultimate emotional stabilizer. The perfect pet. The universal comforter. Cute, right, except I've been passed around more times than an interstellar mail drone during holiday season. My last owner, a 4-eyed Denari merchant named Bluth, used to tell me I was the best emotional purchase he'd ever made. That's not a compliment. That's a receipt anyway. Let's rewind a bit. I'm small. Fuzzy, if you must know. A cross between a baby seal, a sugar glider, and a regret you can cuddle. My fur shimmers according to my mood, which is great for people who can't read faces, less great when you're trying to lie about being fine while glowing neon blue with sadness. For 1,000 cycles, I'd bonded with hundreds of species. Reptiloids, avians, even a gas-based intelligence who insisted I was soothing to its oscillations. I guess that's a compliment? Hard to tell when you're hugging a cloud that smells like ozone and pickles. Each time, I did what I was made for: adapt, connect, and then leave. Because that's the deal. Once the creature's emotional state stabilized, they didn't need me anymore. Off I went, like some cosmic therapy plush toy with abandonment issues, until the day I met a human, and oh, let me tell you, humans. Nobody warned me about them. IT started on Station Varela, a rust bucket trading hub orbiting a dying sun. I'd been placed in a transparent pod, displayed like a novelty trinket in a pet shop run by an android who spoke in permanent sarcasm mode. The kind of shop that sells things you don't need but desperately want after 3 drinks and an emotional crisis. Then she walked in. Her name was Mara Holt. Messy hair. Old flight jacket. A scar on her left cheek that looked like it had been earned, not bought. Her eyes, well, they didn't scan like the others. She didn't look at things. She looked through them. Cute thing, she muttered, leaning closer to my pod. I puffed up my fur, tail flicking to look extra adorable. That usually sealed the deal. Don't even think about it, said the android clerk. That one's expensive. Biotech empathy creature. Not for casual snuggling. Mara tilted her head. How much? The android sighed, its vocal unit buzzing. 10,000 creds. And no refunds if it bonds too strongly. It's been returned 7 times. Gets attached. Mara smirked. Sounds like me. And that, right there, that was the moment everything went sideways, because she bought me. Without haggling. Without hesitation. Without scanning my genetic specs or warranty terms. She just held the pod, looked at me, and said, "Hey there, little stowaway. You're coming with me." The pod hissed open, and for the first time in a long time, I wasn't a product. I was free. She placed me on her shoulder like I'd always belonged there. Her ship, a battered freighter named the Silver Habit, smelled like engine grease, burnt coffee, and loneliness, and weirdly, it felt like home. Now, humans emit emotional frequencies unlike any species I'd ever encountered. Chaotic, contradictory, unpredictable. You think they're angry, they're laughing. You think they're sad, they're joking. You think they're fine, and they're quietly falling apart. I was overwhelmed. My empathic senses nearly short-circuited trying to keep up. I could feel her thoughts like lightning, sharp bursts of guilt, humor, pain, and something else. Warmth. All right, fluffball, she said, tossing herself into the pilot seat. Rule number 1, don't chew cables. Rule number 2, don't judge my music taste. Then she turned on what she called old earth rock. Loud. Irrational. Emotional. The kind of music that made my fur vibrate. And yet, I loved it. The next few days blurred together in hyperspace. Mara wasn't like any of my past owners. She didn't treat me like a tool. She didn't monitor my empathy metrics or record behavioral data. She talked to me. About everything. About her past, her missions, the people she'd lost. She had a laugh that could make a dying star flare up again, but there was something else, something she didn't say. Every night, I felt it humming beneath her calm voice. Fear. The kind that hides in your bones. On the 7th day, I found out why. We were docked at a cargo hub on the edge of the rim. Mara was in the galley, trying to make coffee out of something that looked like motor oil, when a transmission came through. Her calm blinked red. She froze. Mara Holt, said a cold voice through the static. You owe the Syndicate 12,000 credits. Final warning. Her hand clenched around the mug. Yeah, well, tell the Syndicate to stand in line. The voice hissed. You've got 24 hours. After that, you're collateral. The transmission cut off. She didn't move for a long moment. Then she laughed. A shaky, brittle laugh. Well, looks like we're in trouble, huh, fuzzball? Her smile was a lie, and I could feel it. Fear rolled off her in waves. Not for herself, but for me. She was already planning to send me away, I could tell. That's what they all did, but this time, I wasn't leaving. When she set the coordinates to a distant colony world, probably somewhere safe, I scrambled up to the console, smacked the navigation pad with my tail, and cancelled it. Hey, she barked. Don't too late, the console sparked, navigation reset, she stared at me. Did you just override the system? I blinked innocently, tail curling, then she did something unexpected, she laughed. Loudly, oh, you little menace. All right. Fine. We stick together. And that's how I became her co-pilot. For weeks, we traveled from system to system, running small cargo, sometimes legal, sometimes less so. She had a way of surviving that was half genius, half disaster. Every night, I curled beside her as she slept in the pilot chair, dreaming of old battles and lost friends. One evening, during a storm on Kether 4, she was fixing a busted thruster while lightning split the sky. I sat under the wing, trying not to get drenched, when she suddenly looked at me and said, you know, I used to have a crew. 6 of us. Smugglers, idiots, family. They didn't make it out of Helion Gate. Her voice cracked on that last word. I told myself I'd never get attached again, she said quietly. But here you are. Sneaky little fuzzball. You don't give people a choice, do you? No. I didn't, because for the first time in my existence, I was the one bonding. When the Syndicate found us, they came in black ships, sleek, silent, lethal. Mara saw them first. Her eyes narrowed. Guess they called my bluff. She shoved me into a supply crate. Stay here. I squeaked in protest, fur flashing bright red. Don't argue, she said, forcing a grin. You're too valuable to them. They'll sell you. I can't let that happen. And then she was gone. I could hear everything through the crate, boots, shouting, blaster fire. The hum of ship engines. Her voice, defiant and furious, and then silence. I waited. Seconds turned into minutes. Minutes into an ache that felt like my insides were being shredded. When the lid opened, it wasn't her. It was one of the Syndicate enforcers. A tall, bald brute with silver implants and eyes like dull knives. Well, what do we have here? He sneered. The pet. The empathic miracle. He reached in, and something inside me, something old, something primal, snapped. You see, I was designed to mirror emotions. To soothe them. But no one ever asked what happens when I feel rage. My fur burned gold. My body vibrated. Every emotion I'd absorbed, from every species, every bond, every heartbreak, exploded outward. The enforcer screamed. His mind flooded with memories that weren't his lost mother, his failures, his hidden shame, all twisted into an emotional storm. He collapsed. I darted out of the crate, sprinting through smoke and gunfire until I found Mara. She was bleeding, crouched behind the console, firing at shadows. When she saw me, her face went pale. You shouldn't be here. I jumped onto her chest, glowing bright, channeling every ounce of strength I had into her. The fear in her eyes faded. She smiled, faintly. All right, fuzzball, she whispered. Let's finish this together. The ship roared to life, engines screaming as she pulled us into a suicidal dive through the enemy blockade. Blaster fire rained around us. Hull alarms screamed, but she didn't stop. She never did. When the last ship exploded behind us, Mara slumped forward, laughing breathlessly. We made it, she murmured, and for once, I didn't feel like someone's pet. I felt like her partner, but the laughter didn't last. Her blood was soaking the console. Mara? I whispered, my voice trembling through the empathic link. She smiled weakly. Hey, don't look at me like that. Just a scratch. It wasn't. I pressed against her chest, fur glowing, trying to heal, to stabilize her. But it wasn't enough. My energy flickered, her hand brushed my head. Don't you dare leave me, fuzzball. Her voice broke. Neither of us did. As the stars blurred outside the cockpit, I realized something terrifying and beautiful. For the first time in all my lifetimes, I wasn't made to bond. I'd chosen to, and I wasn't letting go. You ever try holding someone together with emotions? Yeah, it doesn't work. Turns out, love isn't a medical skill. Mara was slipping, fast. The ship's alarms were screaming like an opera singer on fire, lights flickering, engines coughing. The smell of burnt circuits and blood filled the cabin. My fur was pulsing between panic red and despair blue, and no matter how much I pressed against her, she kept getting colder. Mara. I squeaked. Stay with me. She laughed, a dry, broken sound. Did you just talk? I froze. Right. I wasn't supposed to talk. My vocal cords were ornamental, a leftover feature from my prototype phase. So much for subtlety. Guess you're full of surprises, she whispered, eyelids fluttering. Figures I'd fall for the chatty one. Mara, don't close your eyes, I begged. My voice cracked, my chest aching like something inside me was breaking apart. You'll die. Her smirk faded. Then, you better fly us out of this mess, fuzzball. She slumped, and just like that, the fire in her eyes went out. For a second, everything stopped, the hum of the ship, the alarms, even the stars outside the viewport. The universe held its breath, I screamed. Not with sound, with emotion. Every bond I'd ever had, every tear, every heartbreak from 1,000 beings, all poured through me in one violent surge. The ship's lights flared, systems rebooted, and I felt something ignite inside my chest. I wasn't just feeling emotions anymore. I was fueling them, her heartbeat fluttered. Weak. But oh, no, I muttered. You don't get to die, Captain Stubborn. I climbed onto the console, my paws flying across buttons like I'd been born to pilot. The silver habit groaned in protest, thrusters spitting sparks, but she moved. Barely, we limped toward the nearest planet, a lush, green world I spotted on the NAV radar. No name, no beacon, no settlements. Perfect, when we crashed, yes, crashed, it wasn't graceful. The ship hit the dirt like a drunken asteroid. Panels flew. Fire whooshed. My tail caught smoke. Not my best landing, but we were down. Alive, sort of, I dragged myself to her side. Her pulse was faint. I pressed my forehead against hers, channeling every ounce of empathy I had left. Warmth flowed through her veins, her eyes opened, barely. You're still here. Obviously, I said, trying to sound sarcastic but failing miserably. Someone has to keep you from getting yourself killed. She smiled. Good job. And then she passed out again. I stayed awake the entire night. Guarding her. Listening to her breathe. The forest outside whispered with strange noises, howls, clicks, distant movement. Something was watching, good. Let them watch. Morning came with golden light cutting through the trees. I ventured out, fur dimmed to a calm gray. The planet was stunning, blue skies, trees with metallic leaves, and air that smelled like honey and rust. It would have been peaceful, if not for the armed patrol walking toward the wreck. 3 of them. Not Syndicate, thank the stars, but local militia by the look of their patched armor. I scampered back to the ship and perched on the console, pretending to be a harmless pet again. When the hatch hissed open, a tall man with dark skin and mirrored goggles stepped in. His rifle lowered when he saw me. Some kind of lab creature? Another soldier, shorter and crankier, muttered, forget the furball. Check if anyone's alive. Mara groaned. Define alive, she croaked. I've never felt so relieved to hear sarcasm. They helped her up, patched her wounds with med gel, and offered food. I watched every movement, every tone. Trust wasn't exactly my strong suit. Their leader introduced himself as Commander Joran Vale, Local Defense Unit. He asked questions, too many questions. Mara answered with half-truths and charm, and me? I just stared at him, glowing faintly pink whenever he got too close. He flinched. What's wrong with your pet? Mara smirked. Sensitive. Don't insult him. He bites. I chittered in agreement. They offered us a place to rest in their outpost. She accepted. I didn't like it. My fur itched with warning signals. Something about the way Joran looked at the ship, the way his men whispered, felt wrong. That night, while Mara slept in a borrowed bunk, I sneaked into their communications room. My tail brushed against an active console, and the screen flickered to life. Syndicate logo. Active transmission. Of course, they'd sold us out. I bolted back to Mara, heart pounding. Mara. Wake up. She stirred. What is it? They called them, I said. Syndicate. They're coming. Her eyes widened instantly. How long? An hour, maybe less. She was up before I finished. We're leaving. We raced back to the Silver Habit. The ship looked like it had been chewed by a black hole, but she was reparable. Barely. Mara worked like a demon, rewiring, sealing, rerouting power. I assisted, transmitting small energy surges into the circuits to keep them stable. Engines whined to life just as Joran burst into the hangar with his men. Stop, he shouted. You can't outrun them. Mara grinned. Wanna bet? We blasted off. The Syndicate ships appeared moments later, 3 of them, sleek and deadly, cutting through the atmosphere like knives. Mara gritted her teeth. They've got better engines, better weapons, and better pilots. So what's the plan? I asked. Same as always, she said. Do something stupid and hope it works? I loved her brain. Suicidal, but brilliant, she dove the ship into a canyon, weaving between stone pillars as plasma fire scorched the air around us. The ship rattled, warning lights flaring. Little help, fuzzball, she yelled. I focused, linking my empathy field to the ship's neural circuits. The thrusters surged, responding like they could feel our fear and defiance. The Silver Habit wasn't just a machine anymore, it was alive. The lead Syndicate ship closed in. I could feel its pilot, cold, efficient, ruthless. I reached out with my mind, brushing his emotions. Nothing. Empty. They'd trained him to suppress empathy, fine. Two can play that game. I pushed harder, slipping into his consciousness like a whisper of light. Found a crack, small but real. His memory. A sister. Someone he'd lost. I amplified it. He hesitated. Just long enough, Mara spun the ship, released a plasma charge, and his fighter exploded into dust. Nice one, she shouted. Remind me to never play cards with you, I said, panting. Point 2 ships left. They fired missiles. Mara cursed, jerking the controls. Can't shake M. Then give me control, I said. She blinked. You can fly? Define fly. Her eyes narrowed. You're insane. Learned from the best. She handed over manual control. My fur glowed white-hot, connecting with the ship's neural web. The silver habit sang, not literally, but in frequencies I could feel in my bones. I dodged, rolled, accelerated. Point 1 missile hit a rock wall. Another grazed our winged. We burst out of the canyon into open sky. The last Syndicate ship locked onto us. Got an idea? She yelled. Yeah, I said, fur pulsing gold. Something stupid. I overcharged the empathy field. Not toward Mara. Toward the enemy. A pulse of raw, blinding feeling, every pain, every joy, every regret I'd ever absorbed, shot outward in a wave. It hit the ship like a psychic storm. Through the link, I felt the pilot break. The memories I gave him, his failures, his fears, the things he buried, crushed him. He screamed, lost control, and his ship spiraled into the mountains below. Silence. We'd won. Barely. Mara leaned back, shaking, tears streaking her dirt-stained face. You did it. We did it, I said softly. She looked at me, really looked, like she was seeing something beyond the fur and the glow. You're not just a pet, are you? I hesitated. No. I'm something that needed someone like you. She smiled, eyes glassy. Guess we both did. The ship flew on autopilot toward open space. Stars stretched like silver ribbons, but victory came with a cost. My energy was nearly gone. My body trembled, light dimming. Mara noticed. Hey, stay with me. You hear? I still need you to annoy me. I laughed weakly. You'll manage. She grabbed me, held me close. Don't you dare quit now. I wanted to say 1,000 things. That she saved me. That for the first time, I understood why humans love so fiercely it hurts. But all I managed was, you made me real. My fur flickered. Then darkness. When I woke, I was in the ship's med bay. Mara sat beside me, arm bandaged, eyes red from crying, but alive. She smiled through tears. You scared the hell out of me, you know that? Good, I rasped. Now we're even. She laughed. You're stuck with me now. Refuse to leave, I said, and I meant it. From that day, I wasn't property. I wasn't a product, I was crew. Together, we rebuilt the ship, rewired the systems, and took off again. Two misfits bound by something no one in the galaxy could manufacture. Everywhere we went, people asked what I was. Mara always answered with the same smirk, he's my partner. Best emotional support weapon in the galaxy. And me? I'd sit on her shoulder, watching the stars, glowing the color of laughter, because for once, I didn't have to leave. For once. I had someone worth staying for.